What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey. It is Sturch, it is Gooch, Wrestling Rob behind the glass, intern Nick in the building. It's a big day. It's a big day for Chop Sports. We got ourselves a massive, massive guest coming on in just a little bit. We want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching us each and every day at 11 o'clock. Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer, Cincinnati Red, will be joining us at 11:30. We'll get into all that conversation in a little bit later on. And there's an echo, apparently. What'd I tell you? I told you. Cool. I don't know how bad the echo is. So can you go outside and listen to it and just see if that's a thing? I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure this out in a second. We're just trying to figure this out.
Is the audio on that?
Could be. Yeah, sounds like your mic isn't on. Remember I told you about that yesterday? Hold on 1 second.
So we got Johnny Bench coming on today, Chris. You know that?
Yeah, is my voice good? Or is there just an echo on Dave?
Boom, boom, boom.
Everything's normal.
All right, let us know what you think now. We just did something.
Echo. I need somebody to respond to me.
Is what do we got? Slay.
Check 1, 2. It
She's
says
saying
it's
Slay.
on over here.
Just joined. Audio's going through Dave's computer, not the mics.
Say what?
That was before you touch it, though. That's what Kyle said. Kyle said just joined. Audio's going through Dave's computer, not the mic.
All right.
Much better. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much,
Wow.
guys. Thanks
All
for
right.
hanging in there.
It's been a morning, folks. It's been an absolute morning here on the Chop Sports Daily. Just trying to figure out so many different things here and there. And like I said, we have a massive guest later on, which is definitely, if he's tuning in now, he's probably like, what the fuck
We'll be
did
good.
I get myself
We're
into?
going to be all right.
Are we good over there? All right, we're good over there. So thank you very much.
So
All
welcome
good.
back, everybody.
We're back. Welcome
Right?
back to the...
We're good.
Yeah, so if you want to watch us and support the show, be sure to go over to YouTube first, obviously. And there's our YouTube TV. How about that, huh? See, I'm working on little things here. I have a TV now on my desk. If I want to smash the TV, I can. You know what I mean? So YouTube, like the video.
We need to upgrade to a flat screen. I don't think we don't have
That's
a
a
remote for this
rotary
one.
guy.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to go up and change the channel by hand.
You got kids tuning in like, what is that thing?
Yeah, no, I...
That is a relic. But it is cool. We're using it because we can actually make this TV just explode. We can make this TV
Really?
catch on fire. We're not going to
there's
do
so
that
many
right
things
now
you can do.
because
There's
we
so
didn't,
many room for
we didn't
activities.
set it up. But yes, just to give you an idea, this
so
is
much
what
fun.
Artie's all about.
If you want to support the show, I am so flustered right now.
Dave,
I haven't had enough
Dave,
fucking
we're
coffee
all
yet.
good. We're all good. Take a breath, right? So if you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Chop Sports. We're going to give Dave a little bit of a breather. So we have 3 tiers. The Rookie, Dynasty, I don't even know what the 3 tiers are because they're not. Actually, no, they are in front of me. Lottery pick, playoff team, and Dynasty. So it's $3, $5, and $10. We're offering a bunch of new content coming up. I guess towards the end of the summer, we're going to be rolling out a lot of stuff for football
We're all
season.
some more stuff for the party too.
And yes. So, this party? The party
Yeah,
that we're going to talk about right now?
Right now, we're going to talk about this party,
So
ladies
June
and gents.
26th, head on over to Merrill Park in Island, New Jersey. I almost did what you did and called it Merrill Park, New Jersey. And we have a barbecue going on. First annual Chop Sports barbecue from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Head on over chopsports.events@gmail.com and let Ashley know that you're going to come because, as you all know, if you don't email, you might not be allowed in at the gate.
See, it's so funny that we say allowed in as if it's not an open ass
Yeah, it's
park.
completely open.
And
We
people
have
just like,
a lot of people that are asking, like, is it cool if I bring this person or I apologize? No, we want as many people as possible. It's a
Yeah.
networking event, and
yeah,
we're
for sure.
excited to see everybody there.
And I want to make sure we also thank the guys that have contributed already, which is incredible. The support has been great. As I'm pulling up my email because I want to make sure they didn't hit me up. All right. So yeah, support's been great. Absolute Eyewear, Fusco Insurance, the Kyle Kerms last night committed to a nice chunk of change to help us out. Also, Curtis Counts, also cornhole.com, who's going to, or
cornholelevel.com.
They're going to be sponsoring some of the cornhole that's going to be going on over there. We have QB54 coming in as one of the games. We have the Olympics Have You, or the Chop Sports. That'll be happening as well at this barbecue. So it's going to be a good time.
Did you thank Kyle, Joe, right? So
I'm sorry, Joey
So
D
we have the
came in.
Sauce Network with a major contribution, and we have Joey D, some friends and family of Chop Sports that are donating.
I'm
would
very
like to thank you all.
Very grateful for all that, because it's pretty badass that you guys would come on in and make this just even bigger than what it was last year. Me and Chris came out of pocket for like $1 million last year for this bar tab. We're like, this is great, and it's all Scoop's girl's fault. Thank you, Casey. Shout out. Hope you're not drinking anymore, because now you're having a boy, so now you can't drink. So that's a bummer, man. Casey's probably going to be very
Scoop did
upset.
kind of donate the bottle of Jack Daniels around Christmas time. That's
Which we are
now
bringing.
in my box on the way to the barbecue.
And
Tommy didn't drink that.
No.
I haven't
It's
even.
the
I didn't
Fireball,
open
right?
it,
I
but
haven't
it's,
even touched. I don't.
I
drink
haven't
Jack.
opened it, and it's about a quarter of the way gone. And I just looked at it like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I didn't even open this.
Did
bottle.
we have any Jack during that one UFC event that we were watching?
Yeah, because Tommy. Oh no, Tommy was drinking Fireball.
Tommy was drinking Fireball like a
Yeah.
21-year-old. Yeah, he was a clown. You like Fireball over there, Nick?
No, I absolutely hate Fireball.
I guess I'll be doing a lot of driving Sunday. I hear, right?
I mean, there's going to be Thursday. We plan on going to get everything and get it all lined.
I think
and
he's
blah, blah,
talking
blah.
about
talking
like designated
designated
driving.
driving.
Oh, you're not drinking either?
I don't really drink, bro. And my kids are going to be there, so
Yeah, it's
I'll
true.
take
This
care of
could-
you
yeah, I
guys.
mean-
my girl will be drinking. I know that.
Right now, I'm currently on antibiotics, so I'm trying to get through a round of that so I could get hammered on Sunday.
It'll go away.
My girls
The cough lingers. The cough is still lingering on me. I've not been sick for a week now, and the cough is still like, I'm on the elliptical today, and I'm just like, "Bruh." And people are just like, oh my God, he's not even wearing a mask. What's wrong? And I'm just like, guys, I'm fine.
My girl hasn't
Everybody's
drank
fine.
in a while, so I'm gonna let her get loose. You know
Oh,
what I
boy.
mean? So
All
she
right.
deserves
Well,
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they all listen. Everybody that supports, listen. She lets you come here to
That's
work.
right, yeah.
Ashley lets you do your thing. My wife lets me do my thing. They all deserve to get hammered. However, I'm getting drunk.com. There's no shot that I'm not getting hammered at this thing. The golden rule is don't be the drunkest at your own party, and that rule applies for like my daughter's 3rd birthday coming up.
Yes,
I'm not going to be
yes,
hammered.
things like
but
that.
this all bets are off. I might be Ubering my ass
I have
to and from.
There's a few people that I know are going to be the most hammered people there. Carl.
Oh, your brother?
Yeah, he's gonna be a good
forget it.
time.
He's going to be one of the guys at QB54 that like just looks for interceptions, diving everywhere, making sure every play is made. But it's all exciting. It's all very, very cool shit. We're very excited to bring it one more time for a 2nd year in a row, this time a little bit bigger. So here are the topics for today. Ladies and gents, we got some stuff to talk about. Johnny Bench obviously will cap us at around 11:30 when he jumps on. But first and foremost, the Tampa Bay Lightning, your Tampa Bay Lightning. Ladies and gents, there's life. They were.
Nobody
tried to make a
expected
good,
them, nobody
like,
expected
electric
them to
joke,
actually
but I
lay
couldn't.
down the playoff experience that they have. You knew they weren't going to just lay down and get rolled over in this series. They won their home game, right?
They went back home and won their home.
So they won their home game. They
So
can
it's
take
very
care of their
reminiscent
home
of the
ice,
ca- of the-
and then turn
of
this
the
into
Rangers
a
series.
little small 3-game series at the end and try and steal one on the road. But if they take care of home, I don't have to explain to you how a 7-game series works. But it's about the only contribution I can make to this hockey conversation. So steal the whole, take care of your home ice and steal one on the road, Tampa. Let's do it. 3 in a row.
So I'm excited to see Tampa fight back. I said Tampa in 6. Clearly, can it happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can happen. If they do the same thing they just did to the Rangers, where they win 4 straight, they can take it. They looked great last night. They scored some serious goals. You watched the highlights, obviously, right before. What can you take away from Game 3?
Well, first off, Tampa definitely exposed Colorado for the biggest problem, which is goaltending.
We knew that kind of going
They have
in.
not
They've
had
been-
Colorado has not had a consistent goaltender probably since Patrick Waugh played, which is years ago.
I
That
love
was
Patrick.
back in the
bro. I
NHL
love him,
95
bro.
days.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
like meet other goalies at center ice and be
Yo,
like, "What's
Patrick Waugh
up,
was
bro?
that guy, bro.
Drop them gloves."
Absolutely.
So
Patrick
with
Roy?
that-
Yeah.
Patrick Roy, yes. Him too.
So with that, I mean, I'm still standing with Colorado in 5, but
Okay.
because
You think that was their one shining moment, sort of like college basketball, and then it's just over? And
I
they're just
think
going to get drilled
I think
out?
Colorado is now adjusted to. I think they realize what they have to do to get it done in Tampa, and I think they can get that done Game 4. And
So
then
I have a
Game 5.
question. What about yesterday makes you think that? What about the game yesterday is like, well, they realize now, or is that just a feeling that you have or a hope that you have?
It's more of a hope.
Yeah.
It's more of a hope because
You would be rooting for Tampa as an Eastern Conference guy. I mean, I guess I'm rooting for Tampa too, so I could say we got knocked off by the
I'm Colorado.
Oh, I'm rooting for Tampa.
Well, it's because one of my favorite players is Nathan McKinnon.
Tread lightly. Who I sound like if you're talking about the Dave's
Timothy
like,
Riley's coming in
dare.
saying Franchuzo needs to start game 4.
That's
Is that
definitely
what-
how I say
the
his name.
goalie?
I don't know. He's some.
Franchuzo.
How
He's
you say it?
Italian now. This guy's definitely French. Francois.
This is Francois.
How do you say it?
Francois.
I don't know.
It looks
how to
like
say it.
Francois.
He
He might be
I think
French.
he's from. I think he's from the
Ash-
Czech.
Ash is
Something
French. Ash,
so
could
it's-
you?
Can you like dictate and like actually like write out how to say it?
Just tell me if I'm right or wrong. Francois.
That's probably
Ash.
not right. That can't be right. But anyway,
I think it's close.
He's the backup for Tampa Bay?
yeah,
the
no,
back
for
of
Colorado. He's saying they got to make a chance.
Facebook
Support the
user, jump
division.
over to
Facebook user,
YouTube.
please, yeah, jump on over to YouTube. The link is in the description. What'd you think?
Please.
What?
What, me?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking to the mic? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. We want to hear your majestic voice. All right,
So,
so
yeah,
the
if you're
Lightning
like
bounced
this-
back. Congratulations. Can you spell it? It was on the screen before. Don't worry about it, Ash. The moment has passed. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, before I get even farther than that, it's been a hell of a contribution out of Dat Chat. We did skip over that by accident. I do want to congratulate Chop Sports for getting over 500 members in Dat Chat. Brand new social media platform. Very excited about it. Glenn, very active within Dat Chat and Facebook. He's been putting up some serious debates over on the Facebook
Yeah,
group.
I think
don't
that
know-
we've posted a couple of his topics for our show,
Yeah,
which,
so
which is great. That's
shout out
the
to Glenn.
literal point of the Chop Sports group
Yep.
was just so we could have show content. So thank you guys. Keep delivering for us.
Appreciate you. All right, the Yankees get their 50th win. I'm not going to be one of those guys like first team to 50 wins, but they are. I mean, they're 50 and 17.
Dave,
bro.
Dave was definitely
He
that
was
guy. at
definitely that
30.
guy, 100%.
I was not. No, the Mets were those guys at 20.
There was
They're like,
definitely
"Look at us,
there
we're
was
21."
definitely,
I'm
there was
like, "All right,
definitely a
cool."
post where you said, I think it was Ken Pullman, shockingly, that came in and chimed in against you, and you were like, "Oh, it wasn't a thing when the Mets won 20, but it's a thing when the Yankees win 30." Cool. Which is yes, that's exactly
It's
what
like,
we were.
it's like a rat race. The first
It's,
team to
it's
30
exactly
wins, 40
what it
wins,
was.
50
It's
wins.
like if the Yankees do something great, we could all celebrate it. If the Mets do something great, we could be like, guys, it's still the Mets. So that's that thought process.
There's no Mets slander here. We apologize for that, sort of. But I will say this. Another game that the Yankees have played where they have like a no-hit bid. I've never seen this many in one season. And dude, it's June. So it's like every other night they're like, oh, this guy's no-hit through 6, through 7. Like their pitching is unbelievable right now. And that's got to be their catalyst because as of last night, it took a Hicks, which again blew my mind that Hicks was the hero yesterday. But like it took that to happen for them to score a run. And that was like the 9th.
Well, I think what's happening now
Or the
is
8th.
a couple things that I'll say. With the Yankees pitching, I think Garrett Cole's going to be there till the end. The way Nestor looks, I think he has real staying power because he's not a hard thrower, so there's not as much torque. He's a lefty. Guys like him tend to be able to stay healthy and good for a while. I think Nestor's got the real deal. The real worry for me is Severino, and is Severino going to be able to sustain this past All-Star break? Pre-injury Sevy, he's always kind of broken down in the second half, and in the playoffs, he was pretty much a non-factor. He's the thing that I'm worried about. Out of everybody on the staff, I think Montgomery we're getting a little more than what we should have, and same thing with Tyon. But if those guys could even be the median, then that's fine. As far as the lineup goes, guys like Gallo, guys like Rizzo, guys like Hicks that are clear major league players. They've been in the league for almost 10 years, each of them at this point, maybe 5 to 10 years. So these guys are clear Major League Baseball players, and they're batting 160, 170. If your career average is 211, you batted 160 for the first 3 months. If you end up getting your career average, you could expect a possible 230, 240 out of Gallo down the stretch. So don't think that it's completely all lost. Tale of two seasons in terms of the splits. All-Star break, pre- and post-All-Star break. I think the guys that we expected to fail, the Hicks, the Gallos, they might turn it up.
I mean, look, there's nobody that was more adamant on like getting rid of Hicks than me. Okay,
Look at the bonuses we're getting out of Glaber. Everybody wanted Glaber out of
Dude,
town. You move him over to
one down the line yesterday.
a position that he's comfortable. Glaber's tearing the cover off the ball right now. He's hitting the same way Judge was hitting 2 weeks ago. That's Glaber right now.
How many more things are they going to do? By the way, the Yankees. Like when they first started hitting, it was this.
Oh, I love it.
And then now it's this.
Keep it all
We're
going,
all making
baby.
hearts now.
This,
It's like, what
this is the type of shit you want to see. It builds team unity. I
believe
love
it.
it.
Yes,
the
I'm
whole
all
thumbs
for it.
down thing. This is what you need. You need a moniker. You need a almost an MO and things like that. It brings the team together.
Question coming in from Mark Menzel. Should we get another arm or just roll the dice that they stay healthy?
Get another arm. If we could get another arm for cheap, 100% get another arm. I don't think you need to get
the kid from the Reds is available? Like that's a thing?
Luis
Who,
Castillo.
Luis Castillo?
He's probably
the type of arm that we're going to go after. I don't think it's him. He's probably the best arm on the market right now.
I mean, he's not even on the market, but like, he's definitely, the Reds are going to sell.
He's definitely on the market. He's been on the market. I think he was on the market before the season started.
But who would you like to see the Yankees like?
But here, Nick Shine coming in with a very good point. Domingo Germán's on his way back.
Yeah, Domingo.
But we don't know what we're going to get out of him
I don't think that they're really slating him to be in the rotation. I think he's a perfect candidate to be like the Mendoza type, the long relief guy. He comes in.
Good reference.
He comes in when a starter might get touched up, or we have like a double header and we need a spot start. Perfect guy for that situation. Germán has had success as a starter, but with the injury history, him being in and out, you would imagine that he's going to need some time to get stretched out. I wouldn't put him back into that role right away, nor do they need him.
Got some over there?
Well, I mean, you also can't forget about the two arms that the Yankees do have in their farm system, and Davey Garcia and Louise Hill, who have proven.
Well, Hill's out for the year.
Oh, that's right. Hill's out for the
year.
Yeah,
Garcia, he showed some shit last year. Nothing that I'm not going to go nuts about. Like, we got the future. We also have him as a trade piece. If anybody
and the
really
Yankees
cares to
the Yankees
call.
don't typically bring guys up and let them ride out the rest of the season because they're on a pitch count. Everybody's on a pitch count, especially at the age that they're at. So you're going to bring him up and have him pitch deep into September. They'll probably shut it down and let those guys come in and get some leverage innings, high leverage innings in maybe not playoff games until they earn it. But yes, they do have some young arms. As far as who I'd like to see them get, when we brought in a guy like a Tyon last year, you don't need the top flight guy. You just need somebody who's going to become available. That's a 3rd/4th, even back end starter. That's all we need. Some guy that could come in and get some innings. I mean, occasionally put together a really good start.
Let's call it how we see it. They're 15-17, so they're doing something right.
You
know what I mean? Like, we're not like, oh my God, we need this.
The Yankees don't need a top flight arm. They don't need to mortgage their future. They don't need to do all these things and then handcuff themselves in free agency because they have to extend a guy that they just took on a big, who's expecting to get signed.
Right.
Yeah.
Scoop bringing in a question. Does Britton, is he back? Is he come back this year or is he gone?
No, he's not even on the team.
He's still there.
I know he's there, but he's been hurt. So, I'm just trying to figure out if he's out.
Him and Chapman are going to be down in Florida rehabbing.
I thought Zach Britton was DFA'd.
I thought he was. I thought he was get that reference?
But I guess I'm wrong.
But so go Yankees.
There he goes.
You like that, huh? I got the whole board thing working over here.
It went.
Oh,
I heard it.
It goes out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So it goes out to the masses.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, I want somebody to be like, dude, what was that? You know what I mean? Or they just went deaf. Remember when we had the spinning wheel of death? We were trying to pick out stuff, and it was just like, tuk, 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 tuk. And everybody was like, holy
the
shit,
draft
stop
order. It was fucked up.
Anyway, so the Yankees get that done. 50 wins. Good job. So the LIV is still the NWO after all. They're still recruiting guys. They are just too sweeting themselves all the way. They are now recruiting the face of golf. I mean, this guy, Brooksy, has been the guy, man, for the last couple years. And all of a sudden, LIV came calling, and Brooks Koepka could be on his way to Saudi Arabia, or at least where they play their golf outings. But, dude, I think PGA, which, by the way, they've caught a lot of flack. They've caught a lot of flack over their advertisements on the back edge of Father's Day. There was commercial after commercial after commercial. So now people are like, are they hurting for money? Are they playing too many ads? Are they doing that? And I'm just like, LIV can literally just put out something and not run one ad if they didn't want to, if they didn't have to. Yep. So I think the PGA is legitimately in trouble. For real. Because they just took. Now there was a awesome rivalry between Brooks Koepka and who's the
Bryson DeChambeau.
DeChambeau had that. They were head to head.
They could continue that rivalry over there in Saudi Arabia.
The PGA lost that rivalry. If they continue to do what they want to do, meaning if they suspend them off all tours and golf isn't PGA related shit.
I don't think that golf needs money anymore now because they're losing guys. They're saving a lot of money because they don't have to pay these other guys.
Yeah, but they're losing ratings. The people.
But no, they're going to lose ratings over time. But these deals are in place, so it has not. They weren't like, oh shit, we need to scramble and get more money. It's actually counterproductive, in my opinion. But the deals are in place, so they're not scrambling to make more money. And let's throw in 7 more commercials this weekend because we lost a couple guys. So the long term picture, they might be in trouble. But I think what's going to end up happening is more so than golf being forced into losing these players entirely. They're going to be forced into adjusting the rule sets and letting these guys go do what they want, but still compete in the PGA Tour.
You want to hear Petty from the PGA, right? The U.S. Open was playing. Who's the guy? Who's Dustin Johnson signed with LIV?
Yeah.
Yes. So Dustin Johnson played in the U.S. Open. They didn't go to him once. Like he shot 2 over, so he didn't have that great of a day. But they didn't even give him any camera time.
So to me, that's more than petty. That's just stupid.
They didn't give him camera time.
How come
the only time you saw him is because he was paired with Matsuyama, and then like you'd see him like cross by.
That's
like,
crazy. That's
dude. They're just
wild.
like no, don't cut off Dustin Johnson. No, screw that guy. He left us already.
So Kyle's coming in and saying that he disagrees. We just watched an amazing U.S. Open, and not one of those that live guys were in the top 50. So exactly, golf fans are going to watch things, and I mean, Kyle, you also have a gambling aspect to it, attached to it. So if you're just a golf fan, you might be missing some of the sportsmen, we'll call them, because athletes is a stretch.
But they don't have a TV deal. They don't have a TV deal yet, though, right? So how are people watching
YouTube.
YouTube.
It's
As
a
of right
YouTube
now.
show.
Wow.
It's us.
I'm
Chop
curious to know how many viewers they're getting.
We've talked about this.
I don't
They're
know.
not interested in making money. I have a better question. Spinning this off of golf, because obviously we could talk about this until we're blue in the face.
Yeah.
These guys don't give a shit about their money. They're not there to. This is not a business plan. It's a Tony Khan type deal.
Yeah,
where it's
absolutely. I see that.
go collect baseball cards, but in this way, they're actually golfers. They're not baseball cards at all. So it's more like a hobby. My question is, when are they going to start making their pitch to free agent athletes that are in other major sports to come over and just look? You want to play there for 17 million or 25
What are you
million?
talking about? In other sports?
I'm talking about
Basketball,
more so
anything.
NBA.
Yeah.
I think it's more possible in the NBA
Oh,
because that's a
100%.
sport that
Very
they play
possible.
internationally.
And a lot of people play basketball.
So let's just say Damian Lillard is a free agent at the end of the
Dame
season
time.
next year, right? And he's getting these max offers in the NBA, and it's $50 million a year. And some Saudi king or prince is like, look, I'll give you $100 million just for one season to play 30 games for my team.
Bro,
how do you turn that down?
Stephon Marbury is Jordan in China.
Yeah, you
right
don't.
now. He is. Though.
You
Yeah, I know.
don't.
He has a
don't turn
Remember he had his
monument.
own clothing line
Bro,
for a
it's
little while?
crazy.
Starberry?
Why wouldn't you though?
Hell
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I mean, it's just it's
lot of money,
crazy.
man.
And I don't think that the golf is going to lose ratings. I think golf fans are going to watch golf because it's more.
I
of a
agree.
purist
What
for
I'm
the
saying
sport.
by ratings is, people tune into all this shit, but
And
I
it's just more things to watch. Nobody's watching like, well, the Live tournament's on today. I'm going to go watch this instead of the Buick Open. It doesn't work that way. You'll just put it on.
You'll
both.
see that you'll
watch
see
this
the actual,
on TV. And
you'll see the actual struggle, and Rob can get the correlation of like the Monday Night Wars when LIV goes head to head TV time with another tournament. That's when you'll figure out like who's getting the ratings
which
here,
they
who's
won't.
watching what.
Which they won't. Which like Bellator doesn't really go head to head with UFC for their pay per views. It's just one of those things where you're not going to go up and compete against the giant. And I think what the Live aspect of things, what they might be trying to do more so than anything is if it's a YouTube show, forget about the actual live broadcast. It's the content that they're going to be able to do after that.
Right.
And clips and things like that. I think that's where most of these people are going to consume these golf tournaments. Isn't going to be sitting through a 4-hour thing on YouTube. It'll just be cut up, and you'll be able to see these guys do their thing while watching the PGA Tour, and you just watch the YouTube highlights.
Right.
That's the new way to consume a lot of this shit anyway. That's how I consume my sports.
Yeah. So anyway, Kyle coming in saying he's placing an order for cigars for the barbecue. So yes, I will also take a cigar. Speaking of cigars, good segue here. Let's go to the parade yesterday. The Golden State Warriors held their parade. Plenty of cigars were to be found because we saw a picture. I caught a little shit for it, but there was a picture of Steph Curry with like the NBA Finals MVP, the trophy, just a bunch of shit that he was like carrying with a cigar. He's like, what they gonna say now? And I retweeted and said, you don't play defense. but in any event, they win it. Dude, if Draymond Green isn't on your team, is he the most hated person in the NBA? You don't have a team, so you don't really have a dog in the race, but like you're a Knicks guy. I don't know if you're a fan of the NBA, but as a Knicks fan, it's like Draymond Green is unlikable because of what he does.
I find it the exact opposite.
Well, you don't have a team.
Yeah, but even
That's
if
like why you hate Tom Brady.
Even if I did, well, Draymond Green and Tom, nobody's calling. There's a very big difference. You can't use Draymond and Tom Brady. What
I'm saying is
I get what you're saying.
Tom Brady's not obnoxious, but like I would say, like I don't know, just somebody. All right, Urlacher, right? Urlacher plays for the Bears, right? And you're a Packer guy, and I loved Urlacher because I didn't have a dog in that race. He never really messed with me, but you hate him. He's a Bear, right?
I just hated him because he was really good.
Well, yeah,
And
but
How about like compare him to like
crushing my
no,
argument.
do
What
like
I'm saying
Marshawn
is-
Lynch. Do like Marshawn Lynch because people
lot
don't
of
really
people
like
people don't like beast
So
mode.
take me out of it.
Okay.
Rob is a Knicks fan. Do you hate Draymond Green?
For me, he's not a villain to the Knicks, though. I understand.
Because he's in the West and he plays them
but
like
I
once
get what
or
you're
twice
saying.
a year.
He's getting to the point where it's like people.
That's all right. Look, I'll use a better example, right? So we're Knicks fans, 90s Knicks fans. That's when they really were prominent.
Okay.
How can you sit there and boldly say that you loved Michael Jordan? You couldn't.
Of course you couldn't.
He killed you, right?
Couldn't.
Yeah, but
Michael Jordan was so cocky and confident, but he never talked shit. You're messing up my point
Michael
here.
Jordan prevented every single team in the NBA from winning a championship while he was playing in his prime. So
then you had to hate
other teams could all hate on Michael Jordan. I think Draymond, best comparison would be even more so is like more of a Rondo type, where he's an antagonist and his job is to get under the people's skin.
Sure.
And people don't like that. If that's the type of person you don't like if you don't like the brash guy, but Draymond's great for basketball. Everybody talks about it. Everybody's talking about him. He constantly says controversial things on purpose. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he gives everybody content. I think the Draymond thing is more or less, do you mind that style of player or do you not?
I just think that
I love it.
I know you love it. Again, no dog in the race as far as that. And you know what? If I didn't have a dog in the race, Draymond, I would mess with him.
Let's
you know what I mean?
I
like him.
Let's just say I was a big Heat fan. I
just think that yesterday's performance out of Draymond Green, and I say yesterday's performance basically because he was out there with an F Boston shirt on, or draping over the day. Bro, just be happy you won the NBA championship. You don't necessarily have to go out there and stick it. Have you ever seen a team like the Golden State Warriors that hold receipts as much as they did? Steph did the same thing. He won the title, and the first thing was, well, y'all haters out there. No, just win the title. Win the title and be happy you won the title. You have all these guys out of control. Man. It's just, I don't know.
I love all of it. It's talking shit. These guys, when you got guys on Memphis Grizzlies talking shit after you just eliminated them and saying Ja did this in this game, and then of course you're going to hold a little bit of receipts. It's fun. It's what makes it fun. It gives us shit to talk about. I'm all for it. Draymond, keep doing your thing, and maybe one day you'll be up there talking shit with Shaq.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's. Did anybody see Clay take out somebody? He tripped over something and took out a woman. I was like, oh my God. And there's no regard. And in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe that was fake Clay. Don't worry about it.
Clay got saved one of the worst moments that a star athlete could ever have in a real life situation.
It's unbelievable.
Because he busted his ass. And if that woman didn't take one for the team, quite literally, she got lit up. And it kept him on his feet. But could you imagine seeing that if he didn't knock the woman over?
Yeah.
It made it less embarrassing for Clay, even though he didn't even do shit. You talk about Matthew Stafford just letting her walk, when that lady fell and broke her back, and he just was like, "Oh shit!"
Look, not me.
He turned around. Clay did the same thing. He was also drunk off Henny.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have to lead in with this. He is a former Cincinnati Reds catcher and baseball Hall of Famer. Johnny Bench spent years standing, squatting, running under the sun. Okay, under the sun. Now, keep this in mind. Eventually, the prolonged dangerous sun exposure caught up to him 10 years ago at the age of 64, and he was diagnosed with basal cell melanoma. I'm going with that one because that one's hard to pronounce. The most common type of non-melanoma, actually, skin cancer. Today, Johnny is cancer-free, ladies and gentlemen, a vocal champion for his efforts to get real about skin cancer. He's joining us today, along with the leading board-certified dermatologist and skin cancer expert, Dr. Ariel Ostad. Welcome to the Chop Sports Daily. Mr. Bench, Mr. Ostad, welcome.
All right, let's try it again. Come on. Basal cell carcinoma.
I did the best I could. I was like, wow. If I'm not. First of all, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, so that kind of doesn't defeats the purpose.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to thank you guys first and foremost. It is Dave Sturch and Chris Gucci of Chop Sports. We want to thank you for coming on with us and spending a couple minutes. And obviously, there is a lot we want to get into with you, Mr. Bench, as far as your playing career, what you think about the game today. But today, you're coming on with us to fight a different cause. And we definitely want to pick the brain of not only you, but also Dr. Ostad about what's going on in the world of skin cancer, because there's a lot of people that are going out there. Listen, I'm guilty too. Over the weekend, Father's Day, I had a tank top on, and I'm just like, oh, I'll be fine. This will be fine, and I'm burnt. I'm burnt on my shoulders, and I'm like, this is not good for the long term. So speak to us a little bit about that story, and tell us all about the Let's Get Real About Skin Cancer initiative you got going on.
Well, I mean, let's face it, we think we are impervious to everything else we don't realize. I grew up in Oklahoma in a small town. I worked in the field pulling cotton, chopping peanuts, mowing the yards, right around the back of a pickup truck when I was little in Little League, and not having an idea that all of this was going to have an effect on me later in my life. So we done use the sunscreen. I mean, back in my day, they used to put iodine and baby oil together, and they'd put it on your skin, and they bubbled it up, and it was worse probably than the tanning bed, I would think, at this time. But old age and sunshine will take its toll. And when I was 64, I had these blisters on my eyes, and we had them lanced, and they came back, and that wasn't good. And they said, you need to see a dermatologist. So I did, and I got a biopsy. It turned out to be basal cell carcinoma. They did a surgery called Mohs surgery, which means they cut away the tissue that hopefully contains all of the cancer in your body. And so far, I've been cancer-free for the last 10 years. So I've been working with Regeneron and Sanofi to make people more aware of all of this. We have a website called Let's Get Real About SkinCancer.com, and I'm trying to be the word. So what do you do when you really need experts? Well, you go to New York City, you go to one of the leading board authorities in all of dermatology, and that's why Dr. Ariel Ostad has joined us today to make sure he tells you all the facts and maybe something that will prevent you from having cancer in your lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting here right now, the dog days of summer. It's only going to get hotter.
It's actually day one.
It is day one. Today is the first day of summer, and in New Jersey, that sun gets hot over here. So, Dr. Ostad, I definitely want to bring you on as well. If you can explain to us what exactly non-melanoma skin cancer is, or who's at risk for developing this skin cancer, can you treat it? How do you treat it? It's a serious thing going on right now, so shed some light on that.
Absolutely. So majority of us know about melanoma, which is a least common type of skin cancer, but yet there is a vast majority of skin cancers fall into the category of non-melanoma skin cancers, and they're primarily comprised of two types of skin cancer. One is basal cell carcinoma, which is what Johnny had and he's cured of, and then there's the cutaneous squamous cell carcinoma. These two, again, comprise majority of skin cancers. They're really appear as tiny little blisters, tiny little skin-colored moles that may begin to bleed. They get bigger. They don't go away. They're not healing. They may appear like a pimple. They may appear like a little wart. And generally, when these things are not healing, they're not going away. They're getting bigger. That's when you want to see your dermatologist and have an evaluation, and if possible, a biopsy to make the proper diagnosis. Majority of people who get non-melanoma skin cancer are individuals who have a long history of sun exposure, going back to childhood, who have a history of sunburns, who are not using sunscreen. Luckily, majority of these non-melanoma skin cancers are diagnosed early and are treatable and they're curable, but there are unfortunately rare instances that these skin cancers can become advanced, and therefore they become life-threatening because they can go to the nearby lymph nodes, and from there they can go to the organs and become life-threatening. And majority of people who do develop these advanced non-melanoma skin cancers are men who are over 65, individuals who've had prior history of skin cancer or their skin cancer has come back.
Okay, so how common is it? Because I just turned 40, and I know you mentioned it's more common in men over 65, but my girlfriend's watching. I could imagine that I'm going to be getting a text message any minute now that I need to go schedule my first screening, because obviously as you hit 40, these are the start the things that I start to think about as, we grow up and get a little bit older.
Yeah, so what a great question you asked. So, it is important that in terms of statistics, 1 out of every 5 Americans will develop skin cancer in their lifetime.
Wow.
This past year, there were 3.3 million Americans who were diagnosed with non-melanoma skin cancer. In my 25 years of practice, I have seen younger and younger people unfortunately present with these non-melanoma skin cancers. I've seen them as early as 16 years old. And these are individuals who are unfortunately either athletes, people who work outside, lifeguards, landscapers, farmers, people who've construction workers, people who just spend years in the sun. Certainly the ozone layer is getting thinner, the sun is getting stronger, and that's where, sun avoidance and prevention is key. Wearing that sunscreen, putting it on every 2 hours. staying away from tanning beds, and just protecting yourself to avoid that sunburn.
Yeah, I mean, look, to be honest with you, I'm the worst applier of sunscreen in the history. I usually use the spray, so I'm usually like all over the place, and it's just not good. But now, I mean, you're scaring the hell out of me. So I definitely want to focus more on protecting myself. So Dr. Ostad, where can our viewers right now, our listeners out there, where can they go for more information on how to either prevent this and the treatments that you provide?
So the Skin Cancer Foundation is a great resource to learn more about non-melanoma skin cancer. I would also highly recommend you visit letsgetrealaboutSkinCancer.com. There's a wealth of information there that can really help make you more knowledgeable, and knowledge is power, and that can really be life-saving.
Excellent information. Thank you so much, obviously, for jumping on with Mr. Bench. Now, Mr. Bench, before we get into the baseball, I got to ask you one more question in regards to this topic. Is there anything you would have done different, growing up before? Obviously, all this sun exposure, it's one thing, but can you give me like a tip of what not to do just to avoid all this?
Well, I think really important is what Dr. Ostad said is the sunscreen. And it's 30 or above. SPF is fine. Reapply it every 2 hours. Wear your sunglasses, because we don't realize, especially when we're around the water, that the reflection is coming up from, I got a hat on. Well, the reflection is coming from the water, and you're getting that reflection into your eyes and around your face. But every part of your body is exposed. I mean, when you're out there in that, I had this awful visual of him in this undershirt or whatever the hell it was. I mean, you guys out there and you're burned and everything else. But the fact is that every part of your body, I mean, I'm looking at little moles here. I'm looking at a mole here. I'm looking at something maybe on my forehead. There are different treatments, doctor, that you can do. I know that spray, which is, you ever have that spray?
Yeah, it's called cryotherapy, or liquid nitrogen. Yeah.
Okay. So you're using that, and that is doing what?
So that's basically just freezing the outer layer of the skin, which is called the epidermis, and it's basically causing that area where you're applying that spray. You're sort of killing those cells, and this turns into a scab and it falls off.
Okay, so they said they were spraying sunscreen on. That's fine.
Yeah, spray is good. Listen,
I'm just going to get better at it. That's all.
Yeah, well, isn't that the truth? Yeah, we should really all get better at it. But
yeah, I think the key is to reapply it. The key is to basically cover yourself. You can put it on 20 minutes before you go into the water. I think the best sunscreen is the one that you actually like using, so this way you use it, and therefore you at least protect it.
yeah, and your girlfriend's she's trying to tell him.
Yeah.
No, yes, I wanted to say this. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about, where it's like, I feel like there's like a toxic masculinity going on amongst a lot of guys, especially men, ages 18 to any age, but 18 on up, when you should be really starting to worry about your health, is when you got me personally, I'm just lazy. Like, I won't do it. I'll either avoid the sun altogether because I'm pale. But it comes down to being lazy, and my girlfriend forces it on me, and every time I make it seem like it's a big deal, but in reality, I know. Like, I'm checking my spots as we're talking.
You've been to the gym, you worked out, you got all these reps and all these ripples and everything else. You're going to show everybody at the beach how big they are. You got the guns now.
Oh, you're giving me way too much credit.
No, he's talking to me. Oh. Johnny, we appreciate all that information. And obviously, before we let you go, we've got to talk some baseball, right? I mean, that's the name of the game. We're Chop Sports here. We always talk we're well-rounded as far as the knowledge of all four major sports. Maybe not so much hockey for my friend Gooch over here, but we do talk a lot of baseball. Obviously, you see the Yankee hat on my head. We're New Yorkers over here. We're Yankee fans, but we want to talk a little Johnny Bench here, okay? I got to ask you first and foremost.
I grew up, Mickey Mantle was my idol, so I mean, I have no problem with the Yankees,
I love it. Love to hear it. I got to know, before we dive into your career, the game today, can you say that right now, like your style of play, do you think that any of the active players in Major League Baseball right now can emulate some of the style that you brought to the game, or is it just completely evolved?
It's evolved. I can still remember back in the 60s when I started playing and everything else, and the old timers would say the great players of that era back then would play in the era this year, and then this era will play in the next era. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different trainings going on. I'm still trying to figure out analytics. You guys may understand it. I mean, they said, what's your launch angle? What's your velo? And they said, I said, Johnny, what was your velo? What was your launch angle? I said, well, if it went over the wall, I had real good velo, had a great launch angle. I don't know. I think there's too much of that in my mind. that I remember Sparky Anderson, the great manager of ours in the Tigers, and they said, "How do you evaluate talent?" He went, he said, "You can see talent. You can see talent." But when they start trying to say, how do they mesh into the team? When you got a team, they say there is no I in team. It's all eyes. You better have the best individuals at each position. You got to have the best second base, shortstop, and all this stuff. Well, I don't care. It still has to fit. It still has to be. There has to be a second place hitter. There has to be an eighth place hitter. There has to be a cleanup hitter. And all of those guys have to fit in, because Sparky would ask us a lot of times, "Hey, would this guy fit on our team?" We'd say no. We already knew that. We knew he wasn't the type of player that could fill the role of being on a bench player and playing every day. But there are guys out there that really are quality players that fit in. They don't have the egos. They don't have their agents. They don't have all the things. And that's probably the number one thing that's going on in my mind with the analytics and being able to say, this guy deserves this because he had, if he hadn't been on the disabled list, he would have hit 4,000 home runs. I don't quite grasp that.
My question with the whole analytics thing is, like, if the analytics help so much, how come the averages across baseball are like 220 now, as opposed to where even 10 years ago, you saw about 7, 8 to 10 guys sometimes batting over 300. The days of multiple players hitting 300 are gone. And I would say it's largely due to the analytics. You could blame the shift, you could blame other things, but you have major league players that I believe get to the big show doing things a certain way, and then when you get to the big show now, they want you to do things all over again and change your launch angle and things like that. You don't see enough guys that are trying to go opposite field, and I do appreciate the home run. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I'm a Yankee fan, but I do think it affects things, and my whole thing is, do you think that them going away from this shift next year will be a good thing? For obviously, it's good for hitters, but what are your thoughts on the shift?
No, you're spot on. I mean, everything you said and everything else, they've been able to do that. You're able to watch film of what a guy's throwing and what he's going to throw you every pitch and everything else, how you've been able to do it. Sure, they're throwing harder. Sure, they've got the changeup, which I think is the best pitch in baseball. Yes, I think the shift is definitely thing. I also think that there are far better athletes than everybody else. They get baseballs. They are acrobatic. They chase down balls. But if you only hit it one direction, my gosh, you put 6 guys over on that side of the field. I mean, you eliminate, if you think about this, if you batted 1,000 times, or let's say 100 times, and you got 30 hits, you did 300. If you got 3 less hits, 27 hits, you're batting 270.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot.
But I think baseball has taken advantage of too many things about the shift and everything else. I think next year you're going to see averages go up 10 to 12%. I think the athletes are getting the baseballs that you've never seen possible before. And it's exciting for the highlights for the defense, but you'd love to see a guy hit and run. You'd love to see a guy go the other way. You'd like to see a guy. I mean, the third baseman standing on second base and you can't run it over there.
Yeah, is he even a third baseman anymore?
I say that all the time, Johnny. I look at this and I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me you can't just stick the barrel of the bat over the plate and put it down the line? Like, is that hard? And then I've got, obviously, I'm not me, and I go in there and somebody throws a 95 mile per hour heater.
What I do is I typically take the side of the player in this situation. I'm like, well, if he hasn't been asked to bunt in a major league game in his entire career, and now all of a sudden you're asking a guy to do that at the major league level, I'm just not sure because I've never been in the dugout, but that's what I was going to say. I'm like, maybe it's not so easy.
Square around and push a ball.
There we go. We have it. I'll never say it again, ladies and gentlemen. I have been proven wrong. Mr. Bench has spoken.
I mean, this isn't. So I mean, there's so much to actually dive into as far as your career. I do have First of all, I had somebody comment. We have live comments coming in, and Jimmy Palumbo, one of our hosts of our podcast network, says, you got to mention Johnny Bench batter up. Every kid my age had that. Ask him about it.
That was unbelievable. And I remember there's about 10 major leaguers that have used that. And it was a great thing. It was a post that's set into a tub, and you put some cement in, and then it goes around, and it comes back around if you hit it. And so you can sit there and practice your swing. And then some idiot with a metal bat hit the plastic ball, broke it, hit somebody. And of course, what that means is you get into a lawsuit, and now you got a lawsuit, and now you can no longer make it anymore. So the batter up on the wayside.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's a shame.
That's a shame because you're looking for games.
But they've
like that
definitely
nowadays.
taken that idea and innovated it. And
talking like I have the opportunity, and thank you guys for being so aware of cancer and the fact that you let me talk about how to be more aware of it and going to Let's Get Real About SkinCancer.com.
Yeah, we really appreciate you, Johnny, man. It's a really, really gracious thing to have you on here.
Harold, do you, Dr. Ostad, you still hear them?
Yeah, I hear them.
All right, talk to them. Battery's dead, I think.
So let me know what you guys want to hear. I know you want to speak to Johnny, and I know you.
oh yeah, well we have an audio issue, correct?
Yeah, no, we don't have an audio. I think Johnny's mic pack might have died, but I do want to ask him. I mean, look, this is just personal preference. I mean, this is not a.
I can relay the message to him.
Yeah, not a hard hitting question at all, really. Listen, I am a firm believer that a man named Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I need Johnny Bench's opinion of that particular situation here. I mean, obviously you're in the Hall of Fame for your career numbers, which are, again, outstanding, especially one of the best catchers, if not the best catcher, the best catcher to ever play the game.
Ring show showed his ring to the thing.
Yeah, he's showing the ring. Yeah, listen, I gotta know, like, does Pete belong next to you? Is there a plaque that belongs there?
Guys, it's 38 years. Let's get it. It's summer.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Let's go already.
Let's go.
You know, if as in the 8th grade, my teacher, Mrs. Tate, said, if you sleep in your own bed, you got to sleep in your bed. If you make your own bed, you got to sleep in it. So I mean, it's just part of what life is. And the one question I've always said, I mean, betting now has become a part of baseball. My gosh, everything is sponsored by betting, and so I think they'll look at it differently. But the one question I always say is, do either one of you have kids?
Yes, I got 2.
Okay, go home and tell your kid there's more rules.
The what?
Go home and tell your kids there's no more rules.
No more rules?
No more rules. Yeah. Oof.
I mean, that would be a crime.
So
that would be absolute mayhem at my
I never
house.
thought about it like that.
You got to draw the line somewhere. I do
Correct.
understand, but I think that the punishment served its purpose at this point, and now I think largely the public wants to see Pete in the Hall of Fame. So let sleeping dogs lie at this point in whatever bed they made, and let's get the man in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's up to the voters. But thank you guys for talking about skin cancer.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
joining
Hey,
us.
Johnny, thank you so much for joining us, man, and we appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, that was Hall of Famer Johnny Bench. Obviously, a little pressed on time, so I totally get that. He's got a nice little tour going on. There's a lot of what do you
So
call
Johnny,
it?
if you're still watching, what do you
Restaurant?
think of Spider Tack?
Have people used steroids in the past more often? No. Obviously, thank you so much for Johnny Bench to come out. It was a very cool thing for Chop Sports and all of us here. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the Chop Sports Daily obviously has been brought to you by. Oh man, that one's screwed up again. It's like they want to mess with me today. Artie wants to mess with me today. But anyway, I guess I'll pull that away. I'm trying to pull it away at this point. There, it's gone. Whatever. I'll just do the read. What the hell? The hell with it. Nobody's listening. No, I'm kidding. Are you worried about your if you run out of money in retirement or how you'll pay for long-term health care? Will your family be okay? I hope so. I hope everybody's going to be okay. Stop worrying. Start planning. A comprehensive retirement plan gives you security for a greater control over your money. Michael Fusco can help. I know you're probably looking for the graphic. I deleted it because I had already all set up, and then that sucks. Michael Fusco can help. As president of the Fusco Insurance Agency, Michael can work with you to create a comprehensive retirement plan. He'll explore using life insurance and annuities to help you build a more secure future so you can worry a little bit less now. Call 718-701-5787 to schedule your complimentary consultation. That's 718-701-5787. Guarantees and protections are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company. Some insurance policies are not available in all states. Oh, all right. I'm going to try to pull this guy up. Let's see if this works. Here's my guy here.
All right.
Nope, didn't
so,
work. Son of a
head on
bitch.
over to manscaped.com. Use the
That's
promo
fine,
code
whatever.
SHOPSPORTS. You receive 20% off your entire order and free shipping anywhere in the world. So what we got now, obviously Father's Day is over. We are working on the Platinum Package 4.0, and it comes equipped with everything that came in the Father's Day package, plus then some. You get the ball spray toner anti-chafing boxers. So it's a ball spray toner in the same box as your anti-chafing boxers. The anti-chafing boxers, I have them on right now.
Do you?
Man, let me tell you. Yeah, bro.
Do you spray your
it.
balls before you put the boxers on, or while the boxers are on?
So if you go on their website, you have the entire rundown on which order to do it. First, what you do is you apply the first what you do is you take the No, the lawnmower 4.0, and you shave everything down. Then you take the crop razor 2.0, and then you go get it nice and close.
Extra.
Then what you do is you take the exfoliator and you get all that extra, all that hair,
to
that
open up all
hair,
that stuff.
It grips it all off there. You wash that off, and then you take the actual lotion, and the soother, the ball soother.
Too involved.
I have my hands on my balls
right now.
So then you take your ball soother, and then it soothes your balls better or as good as you've ever had your balls soothed.
No more
before.
duck butter?
No more duck butter going down. You get the swamp ass out of the equation.
Notice how I saved all these reads for after Johnny Bench. I was just like, this is not going to
then you apply the ball spray.
Then boxers.
Not until the very end.
I've
then
noticed that if
you
you use your thumb and you
then
turn
you give it a
around,
good 5 minutes and you walk around.
Couple jumping jacks?
You do a couple jumping jacks. You walk around free balling it.
Air it out.
In the privacy of your own home, of
God.
course. And then you slip on those anti-shaving boxers.
Scoop says he could do a demonstration
Please,
for us.
Yeah, call in now and just drop your pants. Anyway, so
Manscaped.com, Chop Sports.
do the damn thing.
20%
Now,
off.
takeaways from this Johnny Bench interview. I mean, obviously look, this is what happens. Like these guys, they have a cause most of the time when they're doing media tours. So that's why we talked a lot about the skin cancer initiative that he was talking about earlier. But as far as the baseball is concerned, do you have any major takeaways from that interview? As far as like something maybe you're like, I learned today, like maybe to like, I don't know. Like,
Well, yeah, I learned that it's way easier for a major league player to lay down a bunt down the third baseline if they put the shift on him. So I'm talking to everybody out there on the Yankees, particularly Rizzo does it sometimes, but everybody else just start bunting down the line. No more shift.
Starting next year, it's gone.
Yeah, well, we have some games to win, important ones coming up this season. But I did want to touch on. I was going to ask him about the unwritten rules and how often or not, for that matter, that he would call for somebody's head. Not in that way. I wouldn't have asked him that way, but buzzing people back and things like that, and what constitutes it. And
You think that's a catcher call?
a lot of times,
Like maybe like a little pinky that's showing you like way inside.
Well,
like
to give you an
brushing
example
back?
of what I mean, like the catcher I feel like the catcher. He has a one-on-one talk with the batter. He's the one that really has the most interaction with the other team. So he has a pulse as to really what's going on. They're talking to the ump the whole game. And yes, they're calling the pitches. Sometimes the managers do it, and a lot more now. The managers might be sending in things, but if you have a veteran catcher that knows how to call a game, there's a reason why certain pitchers pick their catcher. It's like you'll only see Cole pitch with Higashioka catching, or vice versa. I'm not sure if that's actually true.
I don't think it's a thing
But
anymore.
it is true, though.
It wasn't.
It's like the quarterback.
Yeah,
of
he didn't like
so the
pitch with
catcher,
Sanchez.
will say, and they know a pitcher, so they know a pitcher's like maybe feeling a little pissed off, and you want to, go hit the heavy bag a little bit. Let him buzz somebody back. It might give the pitcher a little more, So yes, I do believe that the catcher has a lot to do with that, and I think he also has a lot to do with the way a team's toughness might be. It's like when you come to home plate and you're a little intimidated, if there's a catcher there that is going to call for a pitch that's going to come at your head. I think that gets overlooked in baseball, is how the catchers are calling these games. And when we're talking about unwritten rules, that's what I wanted to ask him. What do you think of the bat flips? There's a lot of players that are advocating for it. Not to bring up Trevor Bauer.
It's a kid's game.
But where he's offering $2,500 to minor league players to do something cool in a game. Trevor Bauer's just trying to stay relevant with that. But
I didn't even see
that. I do think it's
Jesus
it's a good thing for the game. And I know, because I listened to Johnny a lot over the past week or so, that he is pretty much an advocate for all things players. Yep. I was going to talk to him a little bit about the work stoppage and see what he thought about that.
Let's get maybe we get Johnny back on the podcast.
I bet he would if the audio didn't cut out, I bet he would have stayed.
Yeah.
And that was on there, and obviously, but he looks like he enjoyed being on. So
yeah, no, I mean, look, we've listened. You sent us that podcast the other day, and I was just back in September. So he's clearly, still hip to the game.
Yeah, sure.
He's watching the game as it unfolds. And, I was going to ask him for his World Series pick, but, didn't get a chance to do that.
I was going to ask him if he thought the Yankees fucked up by lowballing Judge and what kind of contract, the free agency. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about.
You know what, Nick? You are now taking on the role of Johnny Bench. So, Johnny, I'm kidding, bro. But, yeah, so that was a great interview. Gooch, what is on tap for the rest of the week, bro? What do we got going on? I got to talk to Artie.
The rest of the week, what do we have going on the rest of the week? I mean, we have the NBA draft coming up.
Is that this Thursday?
Is it this Thursday? I think it's this Thursday or next. I know it's on a Thursday. So anybody could.
That's
could
how sad is that. It's like they don't even like
this Thursday.
We wouldn't even
this
know.
Thursday.
You wouldn't
so
even know.
Now, is there an Eli Manning situation happening here? Like, there's one of these guys that are at the top of the draft.
So
top of the draft where they're not good. Like if they get drafted to a certain place, he ain't going there.
All I know is everybody says the draft starts at number 4.
Nobody
Pretty
wants
much
to go to Sacramento either.
Everybody knows.
So it's probably that.
No, well, Sacramento has the 4th pick.
And the Knicks have been rumored to try to trade up.
There's a couple.
What pieces do you
so
have?
the player from Purdue is the guy that everybody assumes is the number 4th pick that everybody wants because they know it's going to be Chet Holmgren, either 1 or 2. The kid from Duke, either 1 or 2, and then there's somebody else. But Sacramento's drafted a point guard 2 years in a row. The first year it didn't work out. Second year was somebody else. But they also have Darren Fox, and they don't want to really throw that around by drafting another shooting guard. And this guy is definitely the best player available at 4. That's why everybody's trying to jump up into number 4. So that's what they're saying.
So I'm reading right
Mark
here
Mentz
that,
don't think we can
that
get
the
Giro
Grizzlies are in talks with Sacramento for the 4th pick. So
There's
Memphis-
multiple teams
There's a
in on
couple
the
teams,
4th
yeah.
pick.
But I'm
They're
talking
not
about
Ivy.
teams of that have a chance to go deep into the playoffs to add a piece at the 4th pick. Would you think that they're in a position that they would take a guard? Probably, right? Jaws are more
I
of a
forgot
point.
who it was. Who the hell's the guy at 4 that everybody's coveting? What's his name?
Ivy from
Ivy, right?
from
Ivy.
Purdue. Yeah, the kid from Purdue.
So he's a guard? Yeah, he's a point guard.
Uh-huh.
So here's the thing. I think it was either Tim Legler or somebody came on the radio yesterday, and they started talking about how this guy is Ivy. They're talking about can't miss. Not draft him at 4. Make sure you get this guy. Generational talent. My question is this: are the first 3 centers or something like that? Like, why?
No,
If
but
this
they're-
guy's
they're
can't miss,
big.
then what the hell are we doing?
Look, there's
They're
you're not
power
going to
forwards
see
and centers.
Look,
Right, so they're bigs.
It's bigs and wings and point guards. That's basically how we're looking at this. So, what's a center anymore? There's like 2 traditional centers in the
Bible?
NBA. Everybody's doing things differently. So they're guys that are 6'10", 6'11", and above. I'm not sure how tall Banchero is, Paolo, but this guy moved up. He was on Thursday or on Monday, I believe it was. He was like plus 1,600 to be the first overall pick. Later on that night, he was plus 900. Now he's sitting at plus 400. So there's things that are happening at the top of this draft. I don't know if it has anything to do with some of the trade rumors that are talking about, but I also see that the Suns are extremely interested in the sign and trade with the DeAndre Ayton situation, and to free up some cap space, they want to move up, or vice versa. They want to move up into the 8th spot. They have somebody that they're targeting, and Ayton is probably his days in Phoenix are done.
Well, that's interesting because 2 years ago, Ayton was being touted as like the next big thing, and now his days are numbered. Which
Pretty
is
sure
nuts.
3 years ago he was drafted over Luka.
My God.
And
I will piggyback with some more trade rumors or free agency stuff as we get into the NBA offseason, which again, it kind of officially starts on Thursday, you would think, with the draft. But like this Kyrie Irving stuff is really starting to get legs too, man. We talked about it yesterday. Would he opt out? Would he do? Like, there's obviously a couple options here. Here's your options. A, he plays on his last year of his deal with the Brooklyn Nets. B, he signs an extension with the Brooklyn Nets right now so he doesn't have to play for that 1-year deal. C, he opts out and goes to free agency. D, they can trade him. I think if I'm looking at this correctly, all signs are pointing to him opting out. Like, I know we said will he yesterday, but after going over and like seeing how many locations that he's destined to go to, like either the reunion with LeBron
That's what they're
or
saying.
a potential Knicks thing, I'll tell you right now, bold-faced right now, Knicks fan here, okay? I do not want Kyrie Irving on this team. And I'm not saying that the Knicks are Kyrie Irving away from being a playoff contender. They might be a guy like Kyrie Irving away from being a playoff contender. I don't like what he's done in his career. He's talked his way out of Cleveland. He's ruined Boston. He's ruined Brooklyn. Like, there's something about this guy, and I know James Rube came on my Twitter and said, I would take a top 10 player on my team. But you don't get him. You don't get Kyrie Irving, the top 10 player. You might get him for like 20% of the year, but like the rest of the year, he's a headache. He's waking up on his birthday saying, I don't feel like playing today. I don't want Kyrie Irving on the Knicks.
Kyrie's attitude may have leveraged him out of some money, and
Yeah.
he
Right, that's what I'm saying.
definitely lost a lot of money by not getting the vaccine last year, right or wrong or indifferent. That did happen. So I read a report this morning or late last night that was saying that no rival GMs actually believe that Kyrie is going to opt out, that he's just trying to leverage for a deal. And
That could be a play.
threatening that
Could
he
be a
will
play.
opt out is like one of the things that the Nets really, you're looking at him right now with Kyrie on the roster, and if Ben Simmons gets his head on straight, they're sitting at 3rd in the NBA in terms of favorites to win the NBA Finals. If Kyrie's off that team, that number drops dramatically. So just for the potential
Do
going
you
into
think
the
it drops
season,
dramatically though? Because last year he was only allowed to play half the season.
Yeah, but
and they were still favorites.
But
to
the
go
idea
there.
that he would be there for the playoffs, and even into the playoffs when Kyrie did come around, they were the favorites to win the East.
Robert, I don't know. How to say his last
Ursus.
name. He makes a good point. Watson got paid. Someone's going to pay Kyrie too.
Yeah, I mean that's a
100%
situation.
100%.
No, but I mean, they're gonna pay. I like exactly what he says. Probably a leverage thing.
But it's a leverage thing. They're down to let him sit on this 1 year and play out this 1 year. I don't think he
They were
wants
down to let him sit this month.
I think that's who's
No,
doing
they
it
didn't have a choice there. But
Oh,
understanding like the Nets in
blank.
this situation are like, yeah, we'll take you at this 1 year. There's inherent risk by letting you even be on the roster because of the way he acts. So Kyrie knowing that is like, well, after this season, might not be able to get the deal because I might have an injury. So, and you're older, so you got to use the leverage now when you can.
Yeah, no player should want to play on that final year of the contract. That makes sense.
Yeah.
People get hurt all the time, so I understand Kyrie wanting a new deal. I just don't think Nets upper management right now want this guy on their team anymore. I think he's done enough damage to the team to not warrant him being here for the long-term plan. You can do other things.
Look, then there's a slippery slope there because it's not just what do the Nets upper management want. What does KD
Marks,
want?
the Australian.
What does KD
Yeah,
want?
it's what
Because
does
really,
KD
that's
want.
what it comes down to. The Nets aren't going to do anything if KD doesn't approve it. If the Nets are like, look, and how do you even have that conversation? Because if KD and Kyrie are close, and the Nets brass approaches KD and says, like, what do you want to do? Kyrie gets wind of that.
Because they are close. Yeah.
Yeah, but say Kyrie gets wind of that, then there's a fractured thing. Even if KD capes up for him and says, no, I want my boy in town.
Still gonna find out.
The fact that they went to him and that's essentially giving KD like the pecking order here, which I think
horrible.
I
But
think
you
we all
assume
know.
with the draft
It's just so
Thursday.
horrible that's like a thing in the NBA. In any sport.
No,
when you
no.
go to a LeBron or you go to a KD,
See, I
it's like,
disagree.
What
I
should we
disagree
do
too.
with
I
this
disagree.
guy?
I disagree too.
You're the fucking owner of a team. You're a GM of a team.
Hold on.
Make your championship
No way,
team.
bro.
Stop asking fucking KD what he wants.
No,
Fuck that.
see,
But you
I
just asked
just
Johnny Ben. Hold on, you
experienced
just heard Johnny Ben say the same thing, that the head coach would ask them, "Hey, do you feel like this guy can fit here?" So I get you. If you're on this team and you're all working together, I think you should be asked.
Yeah,
who should fit here.
especially
Not
when
saying
you're
final say.
especially when you're
Kyrie
bringing in
doesn't
a guy
respect the head coach.
in free agency.
Right.
When you're bringing in a guy in free agency like a KD, you don't know the conversations that were had prior to them signing him. So it might be like, yeah, we
Oh,
will
so sign here and we'll give you. We'll go to you.
We'll
for
talk
your-
to you. Well, in the NBA, you're going to talk to the star player, GM LeBron, right? We just watched this happen in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, where he was like, "Look, I'm not asking to make the call, but if you're going to cut a receiver,
Talk to me."
And then he's the 8th guy on the list. Talk to me. I might give you the 7th guy instead to cut, and like it's no harm, no foul. I just want to keep my guy here,
But they didn't.
they didn't.
So now what happens to KD if they just said, you know what?
I'll
KD's giving his opinion. Like
They,
Kyrie needs
they,
to be here.
They didn't, and look what happened. Rodgers demanded to be out, right? And then what ended up ultimately happening was the Packers bringing Randall Cobb on a bad deal,
And then they trade Devontae Adams.
to keep on.
Holy
It
shit!
had nothing to do with. Look, that has nothing to do with the ripple effect.
No.
That has zero to do with it.
I mean-
no, don't just try and
I'm
paint
not-
the narrative now.
No. I'm just saying everything.
Devontae Adams was offered a bigger deal for Green Bay. He didn't want to stay. That had nothing to do
because
with.
he's looking at his future plans. He
Yes.
knows Rodgers was a year-to-year guy.
So the point that I'm making is when the Packers didn't go to Rodgers, he took exception to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to leave. So if the Nets don't go to KD, he might take exception to that and want to leave. So now if they do, Kyrie might take exception to that and want to leave. So best bet here is to kind of just like let the media kind of dictate this. Have somebody in the media ask KD what you want. Maybe he'll be honest.
I don't think he's going to be that straight of a shooter. He's going to say, we're a better basketball team with Kyrie Irving. That's what he's going to say.
Yeah.
That's the easiest go-to
Yeah, that's
speech.
actually a really,
Kyle has a question.
a really
though.
good
What's up?
question.
Who's
Kyle.
more likely to opt out next season? Kyrie in Brooklyn or Hardin in Philly? Both have 1 year player options.
Kyrie in Brooklyn, and it's not even close.
Now.
I think that fat bastard down in Philly is going to stay, and he's going to
Well,
love the
yeah.
cheesesteaks, and he's going to stay. He's going to play for the
I think
Philadelphia
that-
76ers.
I think
next year.
Kyrie also has a better chance at getting an extension than Harden does.
Yeah.
I think because if you're
Who's
looking
more? All right, I'll give you this one. Riddle me this. We said who's likely to opt out. Who's more trustworthy as a person to have on your team?
Kyrie, because James Harden.
You're talking
just-
about a guy who didn't play because it was his birthday. You know what I'm saying?
Understood. But James Harden was also at the baby's birthday, so it's like Kyrie's at least
that's a good
doing it for
point.
his sister's birthday. James Harden, I think, is just lazy on and off the court. When Kyrie plays, you're getting a dog. You're getting a guy that when he's on the court in the fourth quarter, he's that dude, right? So I think that in terms of how their careers project going forward, Kyrie is way better than James Harden in the next 4 or 5 years.
Why is-
nope, not
explain
even
to
a
me this.
debate.
I'll agree with you as far as saying that Kyrie is a better basketball player than James Harden. So if I'm my respective team, I'm saying, you know what, I'd rather keep Kyrie Irving over James Harden.
So-
I get that point, but I just don't. I
So, but
I don't know, man.
There has been a
litany
litany of character issues, and I'm using character issues in quotes because I don't think that this past season was a real character issue. I think he took a stance on something that maybe you agree with or maybe you don't, but there has to be a level of respect for what he did this year, because if he was playing on Minnesota, he would have played a full season this year. Like, he wasn't kept out of games for birthday parties this season, right?
Two seasons ago he was.
One game, I understand,
well,
and I'm not. And believe me,
I've always
bashed Kyrie, but this is the modern day athlete. This is the NBA right now. The Nets condoned it, so that's the type of shit you don't have to condone. His teammates condoned it, so maybe there's another conversation. But yeah, I'm looking at Kyrie as way less of an issue in terms of on the court. He's a better player, and off the court, it's not like he's just out drinking Henny until 7 a.m. and then showing up to practice. I think Kyrie works
Kyle
hard.
Coming in very well, very good here. Since Kyrie left Cleveland, both teams played for have better records with Kyrie on the bench than in the lineup. Food for thought. So he's nice, but he doesn't translate into winning basketball games. That's where I think the Nets are at right now. They're at a crossroads. They're saying, look, we got swept out of the playoffs last year, right? Kyrie was available for every single game. We got just trounced, gone. The year's over, right? So if you had this guy and you still couldn't get it done, what's the point of having that headache again one more time and keeping him around for another year or even whatever extension? Can you imagine a world where we're talking about Kyrie Irving signing a 5-year, 6-year deal?
It's a similar situation to the John Morant story. It's a similar, like Kyrie. It's like you can't win a championship with Kyrie, I guess, right? You just can't, even though he has a title. So you can't win with John. They're better without him on the court. But then if you look at their actual championship hopes, they cannot win one without him. So it's like they might be you get what I'm saying? Like, you take John Morant off that team, they're not a 2 seed or a 3 seed, or I think they were the 2 seed. They're not a 2 seed. They don't even get close to that. So I understand. Maybe they did. They were 21-5. So maybe they would have been the 1 seed. So I know Kyle's probably in the comments saying, well, they probably would have still made the playoffs. But their championship hopes are gone without a star.
Yeah.
So, but do you think that Kevin Durant and according to what you think would happen with Ben Simmons, and maybe he plays actually for the Nets, a KD and Ben Simmons vehicle with the parts around him are not a championship caliber team without Kyrie Irving? I think they are. I think they can compete in the East with just Durant and Simmons and their pieces around it, Joe Harris and all these other guys.
I don't think so.
I don't think Kyrie, to me, Kyrie only translates into headaches and not wins.
I think KD is just another year older.
This just in from ESPN. Lawyer saying 20 of the 24 civil lawsuits against Deshaun Watson over allegations of sexual assault have been settled.
Settled.
Fuck.
Settled. That's 4. 4 left.
If he would have
elimination
settled these lawsuits before,
what do you think that money was
Browns
for?
trade, he'd probably be a Dolphin right now.
You're probably right about that.
You know what's so funny?
The Dolphins wanted to do it. They just wanted him to settle first. He wouldn't do it on time.
But all right, listen.
I'm hearing a year suspension.
I'm not about to sit here and downplay.
A year suspension. No, obviously
you know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
There's
just
still 4 women out there with some serious shit on Deshaun Watson. Those aren't settled.
No way.
No way. The ones with the Cash App receipts and all that shit, I'm sure he was
That's
like, all
probably
right, settle up. But there's some dirty shit that Deshaun Watson did. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that there is a chance, there's a smidge of a chance that Deshaun Watson does not lace his cleats this year.
No, yeah, he's not.
I think getting them settled,
getting them settled,
is
that's
one
the
thing.
shoe. That's the shoe to drop. It doesn't mean he settled his lawsuits. So it's like taking a plea deal in terms of when you settle a lawsuit. You're not. There's no criminal charges, but it's like agreeing. Like, all right, you owed some money for this. I fucked up. Here's some money. We're good now. Okay, we're good. It's the same as being like,
but you still shit all over the Shield.
He's getting the 1 year.
I think he's
shit all over their fingers too.
We'll see. We got a big week coming up. Obviously, we're going to be prepping for the party that's going down on Sunday. So be sure to check it out as we pull up the old Doppler radar here. We're looking
really good.
We're looking good. 89. And just there's a sun emoji.
So there's
no cloud,
there is
it's
one
gonna
last
be cooking.
thing.
So make sure you wear your sunscreen because, ladies and gentlemen, you will cook out there.
One last thing I wanted to touch on real quick before we left. Did anybody see the Braylon Edwards comments on his? I think it might even be
Braylon
his
Edwards,
podcast.
like the
Braylon
receiver,
Edwards,
the former receiver,
Cleveland Browns. Former Cleveland Browns,
former Michigan
out of the league right now, right?
He's out of the league right now.
Number 17.
He had a very. I feel like
it
was an entertaining podcast. I did listen to a clip of it. I won't mention the name of who sent me it. I'll tell you. Actually, it was Ibby. We're going to talk about
Ibby?
Ibby sent it to me because Braylon Edwards had some disparaging things to say about Troy Aikman. So they were going
Why
over.
would Braylon Edwards have anything to say about Troy
They
Aikman?
were talking about quarterbacks. It wasn't like he had something personal against Troy Aikman, but they were bringing up quarterbacks, and he was like, quarterbacks that maybe are a little bit overrated, right? And Braylon Edwards, they pulled up Troy Aikman's numbers, and he started laughing, right? He's like, bro, he's like, I'm not even going to get into the yards and completion percentage, and he was like, because that's really bad. But he was like, let's look at the touchdowns. He was like, I have like he has 9 seasons of his career where I caught more touchdowns than him in my best season. So Braylon Edwards had 16. So I think Troy Aikman had 9 seasons with under 16 touchdowns.
I don't find that to be factual at all. Actually.
Yeah, but they were running the ball a lot, and they won Super Bowls.
No.
I know Troy Aikman's stats ain't like that, though.
It's just funny. Go look at the interview. It was pretty funny.
No,
What was the podcast?
Pro Football Reference right now.
What was the podcast
As
on?
we look at touchdowns here. Oh, my God. Wait a minute. Timeout. This can't be right. So, all right. So, in 2000, he got taken out. 17, and his high ever was 92, where he threw 23 touchdowns.
Like, what era did he play in? 1921?
What the hell am
That's
I
his
doing
career
here?
high.
I should have never, you know what? I should have
Really?
never even looked.
So
Should've
Braylon
never
might
even
be onto
looked.
something here.
22.
Turn in your jacket, bro.
Stop that. 3
What
times
was
Super Bowl
the
champion.
what was the minimum? What was the minimum last year?
There was
Just
no
in the
minimum,
NFL.
first of all.
Well, I'm just
Right?
I'm
Oh,
curious
you mean
to
the
know
lowest starting quarterback touchdown?
from last year.
Probably like in the teens.
I think
I would say it's a teens.
I think
You better hope it is.
no, Cam Newton
Oh,
didn't throw
Baskone,
one.
you're about to be blocked out of this chat. Bonafide Matt Schaub? Are we kidding here? Are we kidding here? I can't do this
wow.
anymore. I was in a good mood. I was frazzled this morning with all the stuff going on. Then we had a great interview, and
Hey,
you're
bro,
about
yeah,
to
that's
set the
what it
tone
is.
for my
His, like,
afternoon by
touchdown-
saying he's Matt fucking Schaub.
His touchdown to interception ratio is like 1 to like 0.75. He's throwing like 3 picks for every.
First of all, his career numbers 32,000 yards, about 33,000 yards. His touchdown to
Joe
interception
Burrow's
ratio
about to pass him tomorrow.
165. 165.
Joe Burrow's going to pass Troy Aikman in career yards next
You know
season.
what? I've had enough.
It's the Super Bowls, baby.
I've had enough.
And he
I've had
played for,
enough.
like, 2 different
No more
colleges.
Aikman slander on this show. It will not be permitted.
Larry Allen was really good though.
Greatest guard
So,
of all time. So,
we'll give you
anyway,
that.
we want to thank one more time Johnny Bench and Dr. Ostad for coming on the Chop Sports Daily today. We got a big week coming up, so be sure to check us out every day at 11 o'clock. Yeah, we got, again, more Jimmy Palumbo show. If you're a pro wrestling fan, be sure to check out the Fight Factory dropped this morning. We have a new Jimmy Palumbo show probably dropping tomorrow. I think all the other podcasts are back. Till Mets Do Us Part coming back this week, along with the goddamn Jets. So be sure to keep subscribing to the podcast network in addition to our YouTube channel here. So for Sturch and Gooch, and of course, Wrestling Rob, thank you very much for producing an awesome interview. And of course, Nick, for some of the behind the scenes action. This has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. We will see you guys next week. Please like the video, according to Ashley
see you
and me
tomorrow.
and everybody else. What I
Kyle's
say?
saying-
Next week.
Next week? Shit, dude.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Kyle actually said that Dak is literally about to pass Troy Aikman already this season.
And he missed the whole
Because
year.
Dak is that dude, bro. 4 is going to win a Super Bowl.
The best
Before you
season he
know
ever
it.
had was Dink and Dunk Dak.
You're thinking
So Quincy Carter should have been the starter. That's what we're saying.